Hi everyone, welcome back to Brookdale Farm. Well, it's a beautiful day to be out harvesting. We've got just a tiny little bit of oats left to go, and we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We are going to be harvesting with this. This is an 1895 or thereabouts Linkie and winnower stripper. This strips the grain off the heads and takes it into the box on the back there. Now if we come and have a close look at the oat heads, when I say it strips the grain, basically what I mean is that's what it does, and that's what it takes off. It mashes it up a little bit so you get all the husk and everything in there with it. But yeah, it just strips the grain off, and that is all this machine does. So this machine is a Linkie central stripper. It's only got a 5-foot cut across the front, so it's a tiny little cut on it. This machine was bought new, or these machines were made in McCourt in South Australia. This particular one was bought new by the Rosenwald family, and they had it in their shed until 2012, when they finally sold it to make room for some more modern machinery. So this is a really nice original condition Linkie stripper. The controls on it are incredibly basic. This is to steer it, so it's got tiller steering onto the front wheel. This is your brake pedal here, and it works simply by pushing a wooden brake shoe up against the wheel. This crank handle here is to raise and lower the front. And it's got a locking pedal here that you've got to stand on to release it. And it's got an in and out of gear lever here, which just simply works a dog clutch on the back here. It's out of gear at the moment. When you move the lever the other way, this notch lines up over there and drives the one moving part on, or the one of the two moving parts on the machine. Now this machine would originally have been pulled by a 3-horse team. Teams of horses are a little bit hard to come by in Western Australia. So today we're going to be pulling it with our 1943 Fordson Model N tractor. Considering the age of this machine, not a lot has changed with the pickup front from this era up until the 1980s or thereabouts. So the grain heads come through and between the fingers here, and get taken up into here. This cover here lifts up. I need 2 hands to do that, so I'll just open that up and we'll have a look underneath it. So in here we've got this beater drum thing in here. It pulls the heads in through these slots, and then there's this sort of cheese grater thing in the back here. So it beats the heads on there, and then this sort of acts like a fan, and it just blows everything up into the box on the back. This machine is almost all timber construction. Even the wheels on it are timber wheels, like old wagon wheels. There's galvanized steel in it. There's steel angle, but most of the frame is timber. This machine was owned by the same family from new up until about 2000 and had always been kept in the shed, which is pretty amazing really. So this is all original. The only thing that I have done to it is put a new drive belt on it. but this is as it was when it was last used. So if we come up into the back here, there's a big door on the back here. There's a ring on here that goes up under a hook on top here to hold it open, and I'm really not sure that I trust that. But if we open the door here, inside, this is just a big empty box. Where that piece of wood is up the front there is where the grain comes in. You fill this box up with the grain and the husk and everything like that, and then when it's full, you rake it out the back onto a tarpaulin.
But because I'm a little bit low in the crop here, it's starting to block it up a little bit. So this thing here is supposed to help clear the block and get the crop running through the fingers again. Because it's blocked up from the far end of the comb, it just sort of spreads across the comb at this point. So it's fairly blocked up by this point, so we pull out of the crop and stop to try and clear it all out.
Just hold up for a sec. At this point we're pulling it just a little bit slow while we both get used to driving the machinery, and whilst we make sure that the machine is going to work. That's why you can see behind it there's still a few heads that it hasn't stripped off properly yet. Because we are running it a little bit slow and the crop is thicker than this machine was ever designed to handle, and the main drive belt is about an inch too long, at this point we threw the belt off and blocked everything up. There are lots of different types of belt dressing people used to use to try and stop these flat belts slipping off. Thanks to Dave from Wheat Belt Draft Horses for reminding me today that honey is a really good belt dressing. That is one of the ones that I had forgotten about. At this point I'm starting to get a little bit low in the crop, which means the beater has to beat up a lot more straw as well as just the heads, and this is when you risk blocking the machine up quite badly.
thanks very much also to Jess for getting a lot of this footage for me while I was driving the machine.
Where did it go?
One of the differences between using a conventional harvester like that one and a stripper like we've just been using is that a conventional harvester cuts the stalks off down low, whereas the stripper just takes the grain off and leaves all the stalks standing. Now, in some ways, this gives you a lot more ground cover over summer because your ground's not going to get nearly as much sun or heat on it as with the shorter stubble. And the stripper actually did a pretty good job, although I was having trouble getting the height on it, keeping the height right, because you want to take just the heads off, which means anything that was a little bit lower went underneath where I had the height set at. So there's still a little bit of grain that it has left behind. Okay, so we've done a couple of laps of the paddock, and in the back of our harvester we've got about half a box. Now this harvester just collects everything, so we've got all the husk and everything in here as well. You can see down on the ground there, that's oats that's collected as well. So the next job with this is to shovel it out of here and in through this machine here, which is a winnower. So the grain goes in the top here, and this is basically the back half of a modern harvester. There's a fan in here, there's screens around this side, and it is hand cranked round here. Now this one also has an elevator chute and a bagging off area. This one you can do 2 bags. You close one door, the other one opens, you fill that bag, you swap over and keep going like that. So we're going to put a little bit of grain through this now and see how it works. Yeah, that screen under there is clear at the moment. I need to stop this stirred up a bit more. Yep. Well, we didn't end up winnowing a lot of grain because it's got a little bit of a leak and a lot of it was coming out underneath on the ground. But the stuff that we did winnow, it gave a surprisingly clean sample, other than a couple of sticks and leaves that were in here already. This machine actually worked very well. Now, I didn't fiddle with too many of the settings or anything like that. We just sort of threw some grain in the top, and I fiddled with the sieves a tiny bit, and yeah, it all just worked. The little Linkie stripper also did an amazing job. I would be surprised if this has been used since the 1940s, so it's probably 80 years since it's been out harvesting. And whilst we had a few blockages and things like that while we were learning how everything should work on it, it did its job really well. It would have been a slow job if you were doing too many acres with it, and particularly having to winnow everything again afterwards. But it would have been a big step up from cutting the crop by hand and then threshing it separately later on. Also, a big thanks to Jacob, who came and drove the tractor for me. That was a big help and he did a great job. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye!